What's going on, Puckheads? We welcome you in as it's trade deadline day. Not much has transpired today. Most of it happened last night. Nick, how you doing today?
Good, Jordan. Not much happening so far today, but really busy night last night for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy night. Even that Taylor Hall trade came like just past midnight, right?
Yeah, both trades came, after midnight. They were both confirmed. Even the Jeff Carter trade. There was a lot of chatter after 11 p.m., but I guess phone calls were made to the NHL trade desk, and the trade was confirmed. I believe it was just after one a.m. in the morning.
What do you think of the Taylor Hall trade?
Well, definitely. Again, the Bruins got shellacked last night.
8-1, right?
They won. Yeah. So not much of a surprise there. With they need that offense. They're the one line team right now. So not surprised. I thought Hall was. We were chatting, like we were texting each other last night. We were saying where Hall was going to end up. I figured it was either going to be Boston or Edmonton. Boston won.
Hmm. What do you think
What
about what do you think about the Penguins adding Jeff Carter? I didn't even know he was on the block like that.
Yeah, we had, we had mentioned him sort of as a sort of a trade bait candidate for teams out there a couple weeks ago. I had him on the list there when we looked at LA, like a Dustin Brown or a Jeff Carter or whatnot. Definitely, I was quite surprised with that trade. There was that rumor that Elliot Friedman put out yesterday in regards to Nicholas Deslauriers coming to the Penguins, and that sort of was nixed about an hour or so after that was sort of announced that that trade was going to happen. But definitely a different element he brings to the team. He brings size. He brings somewhat speed. If you were to ask me, Jordan, um, you know, probably 5 or 6 years ago about this trade, Jeff Carter come to the Pens, I would be probably running up and down the street. I think that would be a really good trade. I'm not sure really where he fits in with the Penguins right now. We know that he'll be probably part of the bottom six. Um, I put together the lineup this morning in terms of what the forward lines that if I were Sully, what I would roll out if you have healthy bodies going into the playoffs. But definitely a different dynamic. He's got 2 cups, leadership. He's played with Sid in World Championships and in World Juniors, so there's a relationship there. Interesting trade.
Yeah, do you think that's one of the reasons why they added him because of his experience?
For sure. I think you know what. Again, he's been through the grind of winning cups, and he brings that experience. Like I said, he's a big body. He does play a physical game. I'm not sure he's the physical type of player that Berkey and Hextall were looking for. Again, Hextall coming from the Kings as being an advisor, and he knows Jeff Carter really well. I think and Jeff Carter had to waive his no trade clause to come to the Pens. So there's something there for sure that there's a little bit of excitement that he wants to come join the Pens. Maybe he thinks the Pens are a contender.
Mm. What's the latest you're hearing on the Deslauriers move?
Well, again, there's been some chatter about the phone still being, online with Pittsburgh and Anaheim. Uh, Dan Kingerski of Pittsburgh Hockey Now tweeted that about an hour ago. That there's still some conversation there, so we'll see what happens. There's about 2 hours and 5 minutes until the trade deadline, and we'll see if there's any movement there. I said to you before we got on here that Ryan Getzlaf has said to management that he's willing to waive his no trade clause to go to the Golden Knights. So that's definitely interesting. I thought that that'd be more of Berkey Getzlaf relationship that maybe Getzlaf and Deslauriers would come as a package deal yesterday. It's just interesting. When I look at the Penguin team now, looking at their lines or whatnot, there's definitely a different dynamic here. There's a lot of players that have been filling in the roles here with bodies being injured that probably won't be in the lineup once playoff time comes if some guys come back healthy.
How does Foligno help the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah, so you know what? I think that's the guy that I was really hoping that Pittsburgh would have went after. again, captain of the Blue Jackets, leadership. He can play any type of role from first line to your fourth line. He makes your team tougher. He brings leadership. He can play special teams. Not that Carter can't, but I think that Foligno has a little bit more juice in the tank than Carter does. Um, you know, when I'm looking at the trades today, I'm just keeping really an eye on the teams that are in the East Division. Of course, I'm watching the whole league, but looking at what the Islanders have done so far, Washington hasn't done anything big, but I'm expecting them to go after a depth goalie. And then you have the Boston Bruins that definitely made a little bit of a dive into the Hall Lazar, and even getting Mike Riley from the Sens, on the back end. A little bit more deeper there. They're running into some injuries on that back end, so they've bolstered that with Mike Riley. I like him. I've watched the Senators a number of times because I like watching them because they're a young group, and he's a steady defenseman. He's got some wheels too.
Yeah. So right now, as it stands right now,
Mm-hmm.
who's because the Boston Bruins also added a defenseman last night too.
Yeah, Mike Riley. Yeah.
As it stands right now, who's winning this deadline for you?
As crazy as it sounds, that they've only made one move. Well, the Tampa Bay Lightning just traded, I guess, Frederick Gleason, or they got Frederick Gleason. Yeah, they got Frederick Gleason from the San Jose Sharks for a goaltender named Magnus Corona. But I have Tampa Bay as the winner so far. They made their impact trade getting Savard over the weekend. That back end is heavy and it's strong. And like I've said many a times, you build your championship teams from the back end and up. And I think that's something that Tampa Bay, they're going to get Kucherov back from injured reserve right at playoff time. They're strong from their goalie back end to the forward. So as crazy as it sounds, they made the one deal, and that's a huge impact deal. I think it solidifies them on the back end. My runner up there would be Toronto. Foligno, and then they got David Riddick to come in and be a backup here for either. It looks like Jack Campbell's going to be the guy going into the playoffs. I don't think Anderson's going to be back here. So they've identified a couple areas. And then you have the New York Islanders again, with Palmieri, Zajac, and then they got Braden Coburn the other day there again to solidify their back end. Very interesting to see, that team now with Palmieri and Coburn and Zajac. They're all typical Barry Trotz type players that can play into his system.
So what are you looking for today? You think any more names get moved?
Well, there's still a lot of names out there that that can fill holes. You're looking at a number of different players that can either play through your bottom six and your top six. There's still a couple of D out there that can improve your back end, and there's a few goalies out there that teams might need that backup goalie to solidify that position. Again, you look at Boston, what they did. They brought in Hall, Lazar, and Riley. I like Montreal's move so far. I like the fact that Bergeron got stalled the other week, and then he got John Merrill last night to bolster that back end. To me, one of the things, if you're a Penguins fan, you look at your D combos, Dumo, Letang, Matheson, CC, and then you have Pedersen and Marino. The bottom two there of Pedersen and Marino. I just, I'm not a big fan of that. I still think that, like we said the other day, we were texting back and forth. This is a soft rebuild for the Pens. Just interesting to see what Berkey and Hextall do here the remaining hours. If this is it, this is it. It's definitely a lineup that I don't know how deep you can go. It's going to be really interesting to see them, because you're either going to play, the Islanders first round, Washington, or Boston, one of those three teams, and the type of style those three teams are going to play.
Do you think Boston's going to be a lot tougher to beat, or are you dug in on the fact that wherever Hall goes, he doesn't win?
Yeah, I mentioned that to a friend. I'm like, everywhere he goes, they do sort of fall by the wayside. You look at the Oilers, you look at the Devils, you look at the Coyotes, you look at the Sabres, and now you look at the Bruins. Um, but they have a good leadership team there of some guys that have won a couple cups. I think the big question for the Bruins right now is goaltending. Rask is hurt. Halak, they've had to start their youngsters in net the last few games, and the results are a couple shellacking. So, what does the goaltending look like in the back end? They're dealing with some injuries. McAvoy's still out. So, but those three teams, the Islanders, the Bruins, and the Caps, Jordan, they play a heavy game. I'm not sure this Penguins lineup right now can play a heavy game.
Yeah, were you surprised that a team like Edmonton or didn't pull the trigger on Hall, or do you think it's because maybe he didn't want to go back there?
Well, I think you know what? I think it's a smart move not bringing back Hall. I think if I'm looking at the Oilers, I'm looking at improving that back end. Even they have Mike Smith and Koskinen in the net there. Do they go after maybe a veteran goalie like a Jonathan Bernier to back up maybe Smith? They got Kulikov today, which brings some veteran presence to their blue line. No, I'm not surprised. I don't think the Oilers need the scoring. I think they need to play a hard, heavy game. Yeah. Just got from Puck Empire and a tweet from Pierre LeBrun. It looks like Matthias Janmark, most likely he is going to the Golden Knights.
Golden Knights loading up, huh?
Yeah. So, again, I know that name was sort of being in whispers here with the Penguins. Because I think, again, the big question is with Malkin, is he going to be back? He's skating on his own. Kapanen and Tanev haven't been on the ice. The interesting thing with Kapanen is he hasn't been on the ice since that game where he took the shot to the foot or the shin there. I think he's probably got a fracture or a broken or something's broken there, because I can't see why he wouldn't be on the ice. So that's an interesting dynamic there. Is one of the reasons why they got Carter is for Carter to play on the second line right wing. Right. So that could be a possibility. Let me throw out a couple things to you. So you have a lineup of I'm going to go through the lines here for the Penguins. You have 87, Crosby, Getzel, and Rust. And then I have down, this is if everybody comes back healthy, I have Malkin at center with Kapanen and McCann on the wings. Then you have Bluger's line with Czar, and you have Tanev. And then I have a line of Freddie Gaudreau, Zucker on the left, and Carter on the right. And as crazy as this sounds, look how many guys would be out of the lineup for Pittsburgh. What we're seeing as of last night, you take Rodriguez out of the mix, Lafferty, Zorhorna, Sevier, Angelo, Jankowski, and O'Connor. That's with the taxi squad. So totally different dynamic of a team when you have everybody healthy. That being said, it all depends on if Kapanen, Gino comes back, Tanev. You're looking at three major players that can play within that top six. What are your thoughts on those lines, Jordan?
It's decent.
It's decent, but one thing that as being a Penguins fan and always talking about Penguins, my thing was I was more jacked about the Delorier trade than the Carter trade, to be honest with you. And the reason why is he's taken care of Tom Wilson a couple of times recently over the last couple of years. He's put him in his place. I think you need a player like that to be on Pittsburgh to police the Washington Capitals and police a guy like Matt Martin on the Islanders, because you know what you're going to get in a 7-game series. You need a guy like that. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
Don't you think it's it would have happened by now though?
Yeah, I definitely think, and it's only a $1 million cap hit too, right? That's Delorier's But you never know. Maybe if I'm a Penguins fan, I'm crossing my fingers. Maybe it's a package deal. It's maybe two guys coming. Who knows, right? Um, I listen. Bottom line, Jordan, is this: if Pittsburgh gets a center, which okay, let's look at Jeff Carter. Maybe he is your second line center, but again, I wouldn't have him as a top six right now. Um, to me, he solidifies either that third line or fourth line.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Penguins do get a center here, okay, that means Gino's not coming back for the first round at least, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it brings up the question marks of Kapanen as well. Maybe Gino's coming back. Kapanen's not coming back for the first round. That's why they got Carter. It's just interesting. I like, just here on the trade center here, they have Sam Bennett's name. He's another guy that intrigues me. He likes to throw the knuckles. He can play a hard physical game. I really, again, this team here for the playoffs. It's a make it or break it, I think, for Sully, to be honest with you. I think that depending on how far he goes, we'll see if he's back next year. I think if he goes in there, because remember, you have two different styles here with the Penguins. You have Sully that likes to play that fast, aggressive game, and then you have management, especially the president of hockey ops, Brian Burke, wanting more of that tough physical style. Sully's not really of that mandate. So what happens here with that? You know, it's sort of, we've never been in this position that we don't know what upper management is thinking right now. It's definitely a different time in Penguins Nation. Really, it's I don't know. Like with JR, we sort of knew the guys that he was always going to target, right? Because he made it known all over, the hockey world. He was, when he put his eyes on one guy, if it was Derek Brassard, if it was Jason Zucker, he was on, Trade Center today on TSN, and they had him on an interview, and they asked him, what was your best trade overall since you've been a GM? And he pointed out his Phil Kessel trade was the best trade. So,
which it was.
Yeah, which again, it definitely helped Pittsburgh get those two cups. This definitely is, one of the things that everybody's talking about is, who are the 4 or 5 teams that are legitimate cup contenders? Who would you rank that, Jordan? Who are your 5 or 4? Let's say 4. Who are your 4 cup contenders as of now? It's 1:13 on April 12th.
Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Hold on, let me look here. Killing me, kid. I'm looking for a stream. Tampa. I get. I want to say the Golden Knights. I don't think the Maple Leafs are going to win shit. Man, Tampa, the Golden Knights. I don't see the Maple Leafs, the Jets, or the Oilers, the Canadiens winning a cup. I mean, could the Avalanche surprise us? I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay,
Vegas just made another trade too.
Yes, yeah. So they just they got Matthias Janmark going to the Vegas Knights with a 2022 third round pick, and the Blackhawks get a 2021 second round pick and a 2022 fifth round pick. So the Knights get deeper, as you just picked the Knights as one of your teams.
I'm looking here,
yeah.
Are the Hurricanes going to make a special run? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Do I think the Capitals have the goaltending? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Bruins, like you said, like we've talked about many times, are too top heavy. The Islanders are a really well coached team. They could make a run. Do I believe the Panthers? No, because of the experience. I know you love the Wild, but do you really pick them going the whole way?
Yeah. I like the Wild because they've been a surprise team. I don't think they have a legitimate chance of winning the Stanley Cup. I think some of the teams you ran off there, Jordan. I definitely agree with you. Like I said, Tampa Bay, uh, Vegas, Carolina, the Avs, and I'm going to throw in another team there.
Yeah, but here's my thing with the Avs.
Yeah.
When was the last time that core got deep in the playoffs?
Well,
like that kind of matters, bro. You know what I mean? Like
they
I
went
don't
deep.
know.
They went deep in the bubble, but the bubble again, it was a different type of a playoff in the summer last year. Really different. This is at least you have 56 games here with a stretch run of a regular season. And I throw in okay. So my teams I'm looking at are Tampa Bay, the Golden Knights, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Colorado Avalanche. I'm gonna throw in the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm gonna throw in one team that is from the East, and that's the New York Islanders. And
yeah, I don't. The thing is, like, I don't. The Leafs are just choke artists, bro. It's gonna catch up to them eventually. It's just a matter of time.
I get it. The one thing that I do like though that
is the goaltending like a Murray when we won with Murray? How they have a guy who's not really figured out yet.
Maybe that's one thing, but I do like their leadership now they have in the room. This for the first time, Jordan. This young core of Matthews, Marner, Nylander. They have some veteran leadership in Joe Thornton, Wayne Simmons, Nick Foligno. They're more solidified now in their bottom six than they ever have been. They have leadership. The biggest question mark for me would be their back end, as well as their goaltending. But their forward wise, I think it's the deepest it's been over the last 3 or 4 years. So and the Islanders again for me is Varlamov and Sorokin. Can they take them to that level? I'm not sure about that, but I do like I like the depth on the Islanders as well.
I just feel like it's eventually going to catch up for Jack Campbell.
Yeah, listen, you know what? That's a wild card, though, right? It's the most intriguing part about this season is all you're doing is playing against the teams in your division, right? What happens when you come out of that division and you got to play, you got to play somebody from that other division, and you've never seen them, you've never played them. How do you keep up with that team if they have overpowering areas of their game? So it's definitely going to be once we get into those conference finals, should be intriguing for sure.
Yeah, because I mean the first 2 rounds are going to be in conference, right?
Yeah, right. And again, you look at the Penguins. Can they make a little run here? Sure they can. I don't think they're we talked about it on the last podcast about feeling good about this team, but they need that toughness, and I still don't see the toughness in the lineup. I see a small group. I see a team that is trying to play like we did in 2016, 2017, and the teams we're going to have to play. Even Washington plays a heavy, aggressive game. But I do feel confident that our goaltending is better than Washington's goaltending. So, that might be a 1-up for us.
Yeah, you remember when when it used to be exciting watching the trade deadline as a Penguins fan?
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this as well is that you look at Pittsburgh, and one of the reasons why you probably won't see us land any of, like, for example, like Janmark, he went for a second and a fifth round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh only has their highest draft pick this year, and the draft is a second rounder, and Hextall's not going to give that up. We all know that. So the biggest surprise I'm seeing here, though, with the Penguins is that I really thought they would do a hockey trade, meaning that it would be like a player for player type deal. Okay. I really thought that a player like Pettersson would be on the market for his his youth, and then again, you're giving up some cap space there with that four and a little bit million cap space, and even a guy like Jason Zucker, like we've all talked about him in many of our podcasts about he's just not a guy that I see that's a fit in this system. He doesn't produce enough for what he gets paid. I it's just interesting. I would just say that is this something that Berkey and Hextall are sort of saying, okay, Sully, this is the lineup you have. Maybe this is the lineup that you and JR decided to go with, or this is the type of team you wanted. Run with it and see what happens, and good luck, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just getting this feeling. They made the Carter move fine, but it's curious to see how this finishes today. You look at our back end. You look at Dumo, you look at Letang, you look at Ceci, you look at Matheson, you look at Marino, and you look at Patterson. Any of those D, Jordan, stand out to you to be a heavy D that's going to be heavy on the puck, that's going to make you pay. What are your thoughts, Jordan, with that?
Just give me a sec, bro. I'm looking at something.
You getting some inside scoops here or what?
I'm looking. Man, what they want for Reichel and Anaheim is crazy.
Yeah, but he's another guy. Like, again, why would Pittsburgh add him? I'm not sure what the thought process.
Why would any team for what they're asking?
Right, but again, we have enough. We have enough of those type of players. It's not what Pittsburgh needs right now. Yeah, you know what? He's got somewhat of a scoring touch, but I believe if you look at his numbers, he has declined over the last couple of years in terms of his production. It's not somebody who I'm looking for, to be honest with you. And again, like you said, their asking price is probably steep. I think I saw it as like they're looking for a first rounder, if I'm not mistaken.
Just about how the Penguins might be looking to add more draft capital before the deadline expires. Take that for what you will.
Oh, so you're saying that they're going to be trading? They could trade some assets for some draft picks. Is that what you're reading?
That's what I'm reading right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just, again, like I said, like the question I threw out at you, Jordan, is, when you look at the 6D that I mentioned, is there anybody on that defensive core that would be able to, lay a beating down or some punishment in terms of?
There's no one on the team that can right now.
Right, exactly. So to me, again, Berkey talked about the truculence and all that fun stuff and whatnot, and getting a physical presence. I just don't think Carter's enough for that. He's got 22 penalty minutes this year, right? He's got 8 goals, 11 assists, 19 points. He's a -6, which is not too bad on a team that's in a rebuild. But he's not, like, again, you got some size, but it's not the physical aspect that I thought that they would be targeting. But who knows? You still got, an hour and a half here that, something could go down.
I was seeing what you're seeing about Sam Bennett. Still in play,
Yeah.
Montreal and Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. That has to be a hockey trade though, because again, if he makes like 4.5 million, you need to clear up cap space, right? So
Yeah.
you know, um, but a trade like that, it definitely gets the Penguins deeper in the bottom six. He's a player that can play center and wing. He penalty kills. He throws his knuckles. He's a physical presence. That would be like if you were to tell me Pedersen for a Bennett, I'm in for that. But again, who slides into that D role? Is it Friedman or do they bring up a young D like Joseph to play on that back end? It's an interesting concept to see what happens there, right?
Well, they'd probably bring up Freeman because that's the boy.
Yeah, yeah. He's practicing. He's not full contact. I believe he had an upper body injury, which I'm suspecting it was a concussion way back, almost over a month ago, even more. So I think that's what he's dealing with. But yeah, it's intriguing to see what the teams are doing. The Golden Knights just Jordan. We talked about this before. Like they're an expansion team of what since 2018, and if you look at their roster, it's totally like it's got meat to the bone from the forwards to the D to the goaltending. You got Fleury and Leonard on the back end, and then you're looking at like a Theodore and Peter Angelo and then you look up front like it's so deep. And then you look at a Penguin team that won back-to-back cups and we're not even close or even as deep as an expansion team from 2018. Interesting.
An bus of an hour ago, apparently the phone lines are still open between
Anaheim
Anna.
and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So let's say this now. Okay. Put this out. So I guarantee Getzlaff's not going to Vegas now. That's the door shut on there. So, like I said, but the interesting thing about this is, and I'm not sure if you know this, Jordan, or the Penguins fans know this. The interesting thing about Ryan Getzlaff is that I believe Sidney Crosby and Getzlaff don't have the best relationship.
Really, eh?
Yeah, and that goes back to I think the World Junior days. So that's an interesting dynamic there. That maybe Getzlaff has no interest in coming to the Penguins, maybe because of Sid. And I'm not starting rumors or nothing, but I remember reading that or hearing that a few years ago that there was some sort of feud back then, and even when Anaheim and Pittsburgh play, there's a little bit of that hack and whack type game between Sid and Getzlaff over the years. So um, that's an interesting dynamic there that, possibly I find it interesting that it leaked out that he would waive his no trade clause to go to the Golden Knights. But I figured with Berkey drafting and winning a cup in '07 with him that the response would be right away that, okay, if I'm going to go to a contender, or maybe one of the contenders, Pittsburgh would be it. You never know. Maybe this is still something that's going to happen. It'd be really interesting to see if Getzlaff would come to the Penguins because you'd have three guys that played on the World Junior team, one of the best World Junior team Canada teams ever, with Carter, Crosby, and Getzlaff. That'd be
What
interesting.
what went down with them that was so bad?
Not sure. I think I think that it came down to when I think over the years where I think Sid had that reputation of being a little bit of a whiny baby, and I think that Getzlaff chirps him. We don't know exactly what goes on in that room. Who knows what happened in the World Juniors? Who knows what happened back then? Um, but yeah, that could be a dynamic in play there. I was talking to a friend of mine about that on Saturday. He had mentioned Getzlaff going to maybe the Penguins, and he brought up the sort of feud there with Getzlaff and Crosby. I'm not sure if there's truth to it or if that's just made up.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's
Nothing,
sort of
nothing
it's
really crazy going down rumor wise right now.
Yeah, it's if you look at what the boys have said on the panel here on TSN is that last year at the trade deadline, all the trades came between that 2:30 and 3 o'clock time.
Yeah.
They all started rolling in, right?
Yeah.
You look at these guys; they've been on the air since 8 o'clock, and they've only had 4 trades to talk about. It's pretty wild. TSN started at 8, Sportsnet started at 12 o'clock.
Dude, I remember 2008, 2009, 2010 when trade deadline was so wild.
Yeah, yeah. You know what?
It was like a holiday.
And you know what? But again, you're looking at we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different times. The salary cap being so tight, it didn't grow this year. Teams are jammed with cap space, and then you look at what somebody mentioned on I think it was Twitter or Instagram today, comparing the Billy Guerin trade with this Jeff Carter trade. Somebody with experience, somebody with some cups. Well, Guerin just had the one. Um, it's definitely it's intriguing to see what's going on today because I thought we had that really really exciting night last night that things would be rolling even more today, and they're just standing still. The biggest name that was, and he was actually number one on the trade bait list for TSN has gone to the Golden Knights. So that's definitely interesting. But when you look at, if you're looking at the North Division right now, Winnipeg hasn't done anything yet, right? So what are they going to do to sort of? Because I have Winnipeg and Toronto as those two top beasts of the North. So they haven't countered with any type of movement yet. I thought they would have solidified a little bit more on their back end. Then you look at the Canadians; they've made a couple of deals. They lost Victor Mete to waivers today. He went to the Ottawa Senators. I like Victor Mete. I think he's a good puck moving defenseman. He's got some wheels, so he'll definitely help out that young group of Senators as well. And then you look at the Oilers. They've got Kulikov there, but the North Division, not a lot of action. Then you're talking about let's bring up that the one other division, a couple other divisions here on where this. You look at the Central Division here. Tampa Bay made their big move, right? With Savard. Carolina still hasn't done anything to really make them a game changer. Florida's tinkered with their lineup somewhat, making a couple of deals. And then you have Nashville that, now has a 4-point lead over the Chicago Blackhawks in the Central Division, right? So they've made a run because when we were talking 3 weeks ago, that was the team that I thought was going to be a fire sale. Everybody's going to pluck their players off of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Dallas right behind them. Jamie and Lesniak's supposed to be on the trade list there. See what happens with them, and they're 2 points behind the Predators. And then we have the West Division, right? The Golden Knights made their move. Colorado still hasn't made a move yet, a big impact move. Minnesota, they'll probably stand pat. I heard that Dumba might be in play. I heard that, but that's going to cost you a first rounder. And then you have the St. Louis Blues and the Arizona Coyotes battling out in for that fourth spot in the West. What are your thoughts on if Sully and the Penguins get knocked out first round? What happens?
I think I talked about this last time we were live. It might be the end of Sully.
Yeah.
Because they might want to bring in their guy.
Yeah. And I have a feeling if they do get knocked out first round, I think they turn to a guy that's going to want to play that physical, Berkey type hockey. So I mentioned this before. I think Rick Tocchet might be that guy out there that might come back to Pitt, guys like him, but he's a pretty intense coach. He so is Sully, but he plays a different style than Sully does. So
Yeah, but do you think he's going to be freed?
well, he's a UFA at the end of the year. We know, and again, that's going to be his decision where he wants to go. So it's just like UFAs for players, he's going to have his pick of the litter. Let's say.
You think he'll want to come back?
I say yes. He has a better chance of winning with this group than he does with the Coyotes right now, right?
Yeah, him and Crosby are boys, right?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I like you said, Berkey and X are going to want to bring in their guy. Who is their guy? Right?
Wants to be Babcock.
I don't think so. I think again, um, I think you're looking at a guy that's going to want to play that more of a physical game. I think they're going to structure their team. We were talking, or we texted yesterday about. I said that I'm hearing through all the media outlets in Pittsburgh that you know either 58 Letang or Malkin will be shopped in the summer. I don't think you'll see them both on the roster next year.
What, just one or neither?
No, I think just one. I think that if you listen to a couple of the outlets, especially Madden, he's really testing all the guys that he's having on his show. He's saying this is a test run without Malkin, what the Penguins are doing, and if you look at Chris Letang and Malkin, like I said to you yesterday, I said, Chris still has a number of years because of his legs. He can still skate. He works out like an animal. He's in good shape. You're going to be able to get more off of him than you are off of Malkin over the next 3 to 4 years. That being said, maybe the Penguins offer them, a 2-year contract to both of them, something short, and see what happens with that. And maybe after if they give Malkin, because we all know how Mario feels about this core. Does he say, okay, does management say, okay, give him 2 years, and then after those 2 years Gino says bye bye and he goes to the KHL and just moves to Russia again, right? So that possibly, but they're gonna have to take a pay cut. Do they want to take a pay cut? I think Letang will take a pay cut to stay with the Penguins. Does Gino want to search to be that number one guy, even though he's getting up in years? But I think it's going to be more interesting to see what the Penguins do in the offseason than they do right now. I think there's a plan in place with Berkey and Hextall, and I think that if you're a Penguins fan, be excited to get into the playoffs. Maybe they can, turn some heads and get by that first round. And we both know, Jordan, once the Penguins get by that first round, anything can happen, right?
For sure. For sure. Yeah, there's no even like rumblings right now, bro.
Yeah.
Like Jack Bo Diddley. So bored. They got they have Ron Francis on Sports Center. They had Ron Francis on Sports Center talking about the Kraken.
Yeah. So I just got here from Drager on his Twitter account. Ongoing back and forth negotiations between Philadelphia Flyers and Scott Lonkamp. Teams with interest believe he signs and stays. So that's one of the players that, again, on the trade bait list. You have Sammy Vatanen that got claimed off of waivers that went to Dallas today, right? So again, it's just really looking at, again, if you're a Penguins fan, what are the 3 other teams doing in the division? What are the big players doing? And the big players made their moves.
You don't think the Capitals make any moves?
I do. I think the Capitals look for a goaltender. Lundqvist was rumored to come back. He was, practicing on his own or whatnot, but now he said that he has to shut it down for the season. There's been inflammation around his heart. So he has to shut it down for a little while. So he won't be back. I'm sure they're not comfortable, the Capitals, going into a playoff series with both those goaltenders, Samsonov and
How old is Lundqvist now? He's got to be up there, right?
yeah. I think he's 40. So
Maybe it's
40
time to shut
plus.
it down for good, bud.
Maybe. I think he'll have he's that.
He waited too long to leave New York.
Yeah, exactly. He one thing that I would definitely say, he's one of the guys that you know uh, got to one cup final with the Rangers, lost to LA, but like you said, he waited. If I was him, he's a really good goaltender. He needed to go to a contender. Like for me, he's a guy that a couple years ago should have went to a Colorado. You're looking at like a St. Louis, Boston, something like that. Even with a Tuukka Rask to be a backup there, right?
Yeah.
Like a team like that. It's too bad because he's a good goaltender, but he'll never have a sniff again. I don't think at winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts with I've been talking about Jeff Carter a lot. What are your thoughts with that move? Were you happy with that, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more like going from Nick Delorier to Jeff Carter is a little bit of a jump. Just the leadership he brings. The guy's won. He knows what it takes to win.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first thing that popped in my head was the Flyers tie between him and Hextall too, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to get, just because I remember the feuds we used to have with him back before he got traded.
Mm-hmm.
Before he got caught banging Scotty Hartnell's wife. I don't know. It's a good move, man. Like, it's a good depth move, and it looks like right now they have him slotted in at center on the third line.
Do they?
Because of what we actually have right now.
Mm-hmm.
What did I see? I saw. Here, I'll tell you. Him, Rodriguez, and I'll bring it up right here.
Czar. Or Zucker. Sorry, probably.
I think it was Zucker.
Yeah.
And they retained half of his salary too, right?
They have. Hold on a sec. They have Berkey on Sportsnet here. They have Berkey on. So he's getting interviewed now. So I'm just gonna listen here.
Yeah.
Basically, he's saying Carter's getting on a plane in 2 hours to fly to Pittsburgh. It's interesting that they're interviewing him now. So I would think they're done. That's my opinion. Right?
Why? Because he's interviewing so early?
Sorry?
Because he's interviewing so early?
Well, he's interviewing so early, and why wouldn't he be on the phones? Right?
Maybe Hextall's on the phone.
Yeah. Hold on a sec here. They just hold on. Hold on. Just rewinding it. There's something about I gotta.
Oh, they weren't involved with Hall at all?
All right, so he just got asked about if the Penguins were in any conversations about Taylor Hall, and Berkey said no, not at all.
There you go.
And Elliot Friedman just tweeted out now that a fellow from the Kings just signed a contract, 4 years, $4 million extension. So he's off the trade bait list. So they're so right now this is what the lineup looks like here. They have it on the board, projected. So they have Crosby, Getzel, Rust. They have McCann at center with Zucker and Rodriguez. This is without the injured players. Okay.
Yeah.
They have Carter at center with Anton Reese, and then Lafferty
Okay.
and then they have Zohorna, Bluger, and Sevier.
Wow.
That's without Malkin, Kapanen, and Tanev. That's so they have Jeff Carter slotted in as a third line center.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
Give me a sec, all right?
Yeah. All right. So what do we have for today so far? We have a few trades here. We have so Berkey's just on Sportsnet for all the Penguins fans here, and he just said to Jeff Amber, if you get me off this interview, I can get back on the phones here and help XD make a trade here. So who knows what the Penguins are up to right now? That was a live interview by Burke. He just announced that or said that we weren't at all in the Taylor Hall sweepstakes. So that's something interest there. So I just again, Elliot Freeman just reported Alex Iafallo agrees to a 4-year deal of $16 million, so 4 times 4. So that's a decent deal for Alex Iafallo, another player that was on the trade bait list for this year. Looking at the trade so far, I think the biggest one of the day goes to the Vegas Golden Knights with Matthias Janmark coming from the Chicago Blackhawks for a second rounder and a third rounder. So that's big news there. You're also looking at Kulikov going from the Devils to the Oilers, bolstering that defensive back end for the Edmonton Oilers. You have Adam Gaudette being shipped from Vancouver to the Chicago Blackhawks for Matthew Highmore. And again, the Hawks are getting younger and deeper on the forward end of things. And again, the big trade last night between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the LA Kings. Yeah, Jeff Carter coming to the Penguins for a conditional 2022 third round pick and a conditional 2023 fourth round pick. So thoughts on Vegas getting Janmark for a second round? That shocked me. So I think what my thoughts on Janmark going to the Knights. They get deeper, they get stronger. Definitely, I think that Vegas is one of my top 4 teams of contenders for the Stanley Cup this year. I put them in the wheelhouse with Tampa Bay, the Knights. I have the Carolina Hurricanes as well as the Avs in there as some interesting teams going for the Cup. You're saying that was a big one for the Oilers. Not sure which one you're talking about for the Oilers there. Are you talking about the Kulikov deal? If you are, Definitely, I think Kulikov adds some depth to your D, but he's not a game changer. It just adds depth to your D. So looking at that, but definitely Vegas with getting Yanmark here, they're solid up the middle. We'll see what the rest of the day has. We have an hour and 10 minutes left until the deadline. You're looking at Berkey just said he doesn't know if the day's done yet for the Penguins, so we'll see what happens here. Back on?
Bro, I needed some caffeine in my body. Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm crashing. Did Berkey have his tie undone, or was it still done up?
No, he had his tie undone. He had his red tie was undone, and right. I wish if you're a Penguins fan, looking at that lineup that I just saw, if those three players don't come back with Malkin, Tanev and Kapanen out of the lineup, it's going to be an early exit. I would say, even with the addition of Carter, you can't go deep with that team. You need even if Malkin doesn't come back the first round, you need Tanev and Kapanen in the lineup.
Well, even Dan Kingserkey said that about the Kapanen thing, right? Mm-hmm. He said with the trade, what is here? I'll tell you exactly what he said about Cap. He said something about Kapanen. Let me pull it up. Let me bring it up here. With getting Jeff Carter, do we wonder about Kasperi Kapanen's prognosis this season?
Mm-hmm. But again, if we're talking about a fracture, if we're talking about like something like that happened a few weeks ago. When was that game? Were they playing that game? Was it Boston? I think it was Boston, right?
That was the one. It wasn't Boston where Gino got hurt against?
Yeah, so Gino got hurt against Boston. If you're looking at
here, I'll look right now. Hold on.
It was at home, and it was
the Sabres.
Was it the Sabres?
Yeah, suffered a knee injury, and the win over the Sabres was unable to finish the contest.
Yeah, so that was March 24th.
Yeah,
is that March 24th?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, March 24th. You have so you're basically almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks to the day, right? That he's been out. If it's if it's a fracture, it should be like 6 weeks, 6 weeks to 2 months, right? So
you hope.
Yeah.
You hope. Those Europeans always heal differently, brother.
We'll see.
When's Kucherov back?
He's supposed to be back for the playoffs. So
they're gonna win the deadline just based off that.
Well, that's one of the things you have to look at. If you're a team that has some guys injured and you're expecting them back just before the playoffs, it's like getting a major trade and bolstering your lineup, right? You look at Tampa Bay, what they've done without Kucherov this year.
Ridiculous,
right? So
fluctuating between first and second, basically.
Yeah, and Stamkos is having a solid year, and you have guys that are stepping it up like Cirelli and even Joseph, right? So,
bro, those better be insiders.
What's that?
Those better be insiders blowing your.
Yeah, just somebody just made a comment about Taylor Hall. Just again, going to another team that's going to bomb first round. So,
well, that might be good for us by the looks of it.
Yeah, but again, I see us playing. You're going to either play the Islanders or Washington first round. You're gonna either land in second or third, right? So
We hope.
Well, again, you got to look at the remainder of the schedule. The Penguins have already played the tougher part of the schedule in the beginning of the year. Now you look at what they're up against going forward. In April you have Philly on Thursday. Okay, then you have back-to-backs against Buffalo, and then you have a 3-game series against the Devils, and then you have Boston twice, and you have Washington twice. So the back end of this month, you have the Washingtons and the Bostons, and then you have one game, 2 games against Philly and 2 games against Buffalo, right? So
all I want to know is why is Jerry D on Sportsnet?
I don't know. I saw that. Yeah.
What the?
Yeah.
Remember the year they had Eklund on?
Yeah. he was up top like it was that game
in the
show
shadow? Yeah, and he's in the shadows. And he was wrong all day.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We should check out what he's saying because
I'm looking right now.
He's got always some interesting stuff happening over there. Right? He's saying
he literally the top one right now. Brandon Sutter's in play. Look to Pittsburgh.
Interesting. We talked about that name too. Remember that a couple weeks ago? Jordan, I'm telling you now, and I'll tell you, like all Penguin fans that are listening to this or watching or whatever, or watch it after. If the Penguins get a center, Malkin is not coming back first round. There is no way. You look at the centers that we're loaded up with. So you look at Crosby, McCann can play center. You have Bluger, Carter, Goudreau, Jankowski. Look at all those centers you have in the lineup, right? We have Julian is online here, and he's saying the Penguins stink, and he's telling me I need to get a microphone. Well, subscribe. We need more subscribers, and maybe I'll get a microphone, right?
Penguins stink with the Leafs rule. What are the Leafs rule? First round exits?
So Julian's probably already got his Nick Foligno jersey. Yeah, he's probably got that right up.
Never have too much toilet paper in the house, Julian.
Yeah, exactly. So Julian, what are your send a comment on your thoughts of the Foligno trade, and then we can dive into that, right? Foligno all the way, baby. There we go. Right, flags are out.
Foligno all the way to a first round exit. Yes.
Yeah. The question I have for Leaf Nation out there is, again, and you brought this up, Jordan, is I think it's a great move for sure. The Penguins. I wanted the Penguins to go after Foligno. The question I have, Jordan, you brought it up.
But what does he do? But the guy, what is Foligno in Columbus? The guy continuously knocked out. Yeah. Like what I'm saying is, where's their depth to the guys that have done it? That have been through the grind all the way to the Stanley Cup. Where's their depth with that?
I think if you look at the lineup, you only have one guy that's been to the Stanley Cup up front with Joe Thornton, and we all know what happened to Jumbo Joe when he played the Penguins.
Another bro. And then, team full of them, bro.
And then if you look at the back end, you got the big Bogosian that just won a cup with Tampa Bay, right? So he's a guy that's gone. And I believe Muslin was there too with the Kings when they won either one of the cups or back to back. Yeah. So you got 3 guys that have gone to the show or the dance per se.
None of which are significant contributors of going to the dance of the show.
This time, yeah, exactly. Right.
Everyone who's buckled in for the ride, basically.
I agree with Julian though in terms of it does give them a lot of depth going up and down the lineup. Like I said about Foligno, he can play penalty kill, he can play power play. You can insert him with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. But I think it's going to come down to the Jets, and it's going to come down to the Leafs in that North Division, and who outduels each other when it comes to goaltending? Is it
See, the problem
Connor?
is, I'll tell you right now, Tampa would hand either one of those teams their ass
Oh, 100%.
on a silver platter, bro.
Right. Yeah. Like Tampa Bay is my pick again. You know, and I hate saying this because I only want the Penguins to go back to back here, but they're legitimate. They have one of the best goalies in the world. They have depth on the blue line. They have probably, if not the best D in the game with Victor Hedman. And then you have a forward group that scores throughout the lineup from their first line to their fourth line, right?
Their depth is unrivaled, bro.
Right. So, but we all know what happens with cup runs. It's the luck of the draw, right? Are you lucky? Do you get those breaks? Do you stay healthy? Can you go 16 weeks playing with a healthy lineup? You got to overcome obstacles to win that cup. We've seen it.
Want me to hit you with something?
Go ahead. You can hit me with something.
I don't know if the Leafs could beat a team like the Islanders either.
Listen, you know,
because of the grind game they play, how well coached they are. They get up
right.
1-0 on the Leafs. Like in a game, it's a pretty much you can wrap that one up. Right? They'll just go into the the 1-2-2 trap and just play it and just suffocate it.
Yeah.
They need to face a team like the Capitals or someone like that.
Yeah, the thing is with that North Division is that, besides the Jets, we talked about it. Once you get into that conference final, it's like a bird hitting a window because you don't know what you're going to get yourself into here, right?
Mm-hmm. But they need a team that's going to play pond hockey. I don't look at them as winning out grinded out games.
Right, 100%. So if you're the Leafs, you're hoping that a team like the Oilers. So if you have, if you see the Oilers, let's say you get out of that first round matchup, the Leafs play the Canadians, Jets play the Oilers. Oilers come out of that Jet series, right? Leafs beat the Oilers. You heard it here, okay? Because I think their depth is way better than the Oilers, okay? But they can definitely what's it called? Look at beating the Oilers. So
are they crossing in the conference finals? Who are they crossing with?
I believe they're crossing with the Central Division.
Oh yeah, that ain't good,
right?
For them.
Yeah, I believe they're crossing the.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this too. I think the Hurricanes can beat them.
Well, you got Mrazek in that. You have depth. That would be definitely a different type of series. So yeah, for sure, it'd be fun to watch.
But they've been like it felt like they've been on the cusp.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina. Yeah. Look what they did in the bubble last year, right?
Yeah, and they had Don Waddell on SportsCenter or Trade Deadline Day here on TSN this morning, and he's been one of the busier GMs over the last few years. And looking at, let's just hear what these guys are saying right now. Hold on one sec. They're just talking about Scott Laughton right now. We'll see. They're just going around the insiders, so we'll see if we have any updates. They're talking about Jordy Ben maybe moving from the Canucks.
You know what's gonna be interesting to see too? how Jack Campbell handles his first loss when it happens.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great story
They
right
got
now with
15 games left, right? So by the time he hits the playoffs, realistically, he's going to be sitting around 25-ish games. The book might be out on him a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like Murray, we blindsided everyone with in the first year. And then the second year, we kind of did too because he got hurt.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So they're still saying that there could be a couple of Canadian teams still making the look at making some deals. Canucks still, so maybe there's some meat or a spicy sausage out there with Sutter coming back to the Pens again. You know, I don't see why that move would even happen.
Dan
Yeah,
Kingerski said basically based on A, Burke speaking on Sportsnet before 2 p.m. B,
yeah,
Burke says he likes the team and they could have moved players out, but didn't. I'd say the Penguins are done unless something falls in their lap.
yeah, yeah. I just said that to you, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So with him being on and interviewing now, I think my biggest thing would be this is that with the Penguins, um, and I've said this throughout the whole podcast, they tweaked it. Now, Sully, see what you can do and take it from there. So, right.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny when the TSM brings up their trade bait list. You still have Jan Mark got traded. You have Olesniak, that's number 2. Hoffman, that's number 3. Zadorov, number 4, and then IFL re-signed with LA. So that was their top 5. And then getting into 6 to 10, Scott Lawton, Luke Glendening, Jonathan Bernier, Goligoski, and
I'm
John
surprised
Spencer.
Glendening hasn't been moved just because of
It's probably what they're asking for, right?
yeah. But he's such a stud in the playoff circle.
Yeah, yeah. Just take it for 1 second, Jordan.
Yeah.
It's gonna be it.
Guys, hit that like button and subscribe if you are new here. As the day moves slowly, we're about 52 minutes away from hitting the deadline. Still shocked by the fact that the biggest acquisition today is Sportsnet adding Jerry D to their panel. Doesn't really look like much is going to be happening today. Probably until 2:30, up until 3. After 3, more trades will start trickling in as they're getting processed by the league. I mean, right now the talk is Alex Iafallo's new deal. So, I mean, that should tell you how slow it is when they're talking about an extension. And right now, a couple things. Apparently, from what's being said here, Hoffman possibly to Winnipeg or Edmonton. And I guess there's rumblings right now that the Pittsburgh Penguins are in on Ryan Murray, the defenseman from the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh, really? You got that?
Yeah. On Twitter.
Okay. I just got sounds like Scott Lawton has a new deal in Philadelphia, so it looks like he's staying there. One interesting thing, so just going over a couple things on Trade Center here with TSN. So you have trades between 2 and 3. In 2016, there was 19. 2017, there was 18. In 2018, there was 18 trades. In 2019, 23. And then last year, Jordan, between 2 and 3, there was a total of 32 trades. Sorry, 19 trades. Sorry, my bad, 19 trades. So last year was the highest amount of trades between 2 and 3. So this is the hour where stuff should happen. Yeah, so it seems like we got.
What do you think about a
Irving,
potential? What do you think about a potential deal for Ryan Murray?
I like that. Again, it's bring up his stats on Hockey DB. Again, that's solidifying the back end. But that I would think this is going to have to be a hockey trade in terms of player for player here. Go on the cap friendly and see what's happening there with that type of contract. Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, so let's go over here. All right, so we got Ryan Murray. You said Ryan Murray?
Yeah.
From Columbus?
Yeah.
You sure he's second. Where did you get that from?
Who do you think?
Oh, our friend at the Hockey Buzz. Holy smokes. So he's with the Devils right now. Ryan Murray.
Oh, there's no way they would make a move.
He's $4.6 million, man.
Well, they'd have to take money on. They'd take cap on probably.
Oh, well, that or you're doing a hockey move. You're trading Pettersson for Murray, right?
I'll do that all day.
So you're looking at he's 6'1", 206, 27 years old, so he's young as well. He was drafted in 2012, drafted second overall, first round, high draft pick. There you got Rutherford. Rutherford's being interviewed here about the process. And the best thing about Rutherford, he's in his office and he's got a picture of penguins, like actually a painting of penguins, like marching in a row, and two of them have Stanley Cups holding them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Anyways, you have the stats up for Mr. Ryan Murray right now?
Do I? No, I do not.
Okay, let's bring them up and see what we just played the Devils, and I didn't even notice the guy, to be honest with you. Right? So, all right. So right now, his totals for this year, he's got 0 goals, he's got 10 assists, and he is a +6 on a New Jersey Devil team, which is pretty outstanding to be on that team and be a plus. So, interesting. Looks like Hockey Buzz is going off right now. Is that what we're looking at here?
That's what we're looking at, buddy.
You going into the dark room for this or what? Yeah. So, again, a lot of guys out there still on that trade bait list, from 1 to 10, even 1 to 20. And there's just been no movement here at all. Right. So, the Trade Center is talking about Team Canada roster in 2022.
Carl Soderberg.
Where'd he go?
He went to The Colorado Avalanche for Josh Dickinson and Ryder Ralston.
Yeah, that was just so the Blackhawks made another move, get some young forwards in return, and I believe Soderberg was on the Avalanche before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was.
Right? So he went from Colorado to Chicago, now back to Colorado.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Just a depth forward, not a game changer there at all.
Working the phones, Nick. Working the phones.
Are you working it?
Well, that's how I got the Soderberg stuff.
Are you working it?
I just got the Bleacher Report update right now.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick.
Yeah, I'm looking at some stuff too. Just give me a sec. You know, it's funny that that one particular insider, Pittsburgh insider, used to be all over this back in the day when we used to get together and watch.
Yeah. Oh, is that still going? That site?
Yeah, it's still going, but he's just there like every so often. He made an update Thursday on what Hextall and Berkey were looking at, and then he's been non-existent today, non-existent since Thursday. So just interesting stuff. You have Scott Lawton. I'm seeing he signed a 5-year deal at $3 million a year, which is that's a good deal. You got him at a good price. He's a good third
you're
line
right.
player.
Like, it's absolutely dead there, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Like there's no there's no updates at all. Where he usually
You remember when we couldn't even load the page?
Exactly. It was on fire, that website, right? But now it's
Eklund won out, buddy.
well, yeah. All right.
What do you think about the $3 million annual average?
No, I think that's a good trade. You know what? Even the Leafs are in play on Ryan Murray as well. That's rumored to be out there. Yeah. So um, you have Ryan Murray in play with Toronto, Winnipeg, and Pittsburgh. That's rumored to be. Sam Bennett looking at in play here with Montreal and Pittsburgh. You have Josh Manson and Raquel maybe packaged to the Oilers. That's an interesting trade. That's a good trade for the Oilers. I like Josh Manson on the back end. He brings that grit, that leadership, and Raquel another offensive weapon that could fit right into that second line. Interesting to see if any of these things happen because those are going to be hockey moves with salary cap and all that stuff. Yeah, the rich get richer, let's say here, right?
Yep.
And again, I'm going to say this all day yesterday. Penguins have not addressed the physical aspect of them playing against an Islanders team, of them playing against the Washington
That Delorier deal has to be dead, bro.
Yeah, it's just, but what happened there? Like, because you figure, like, he's a fourth line physical presence.
Legitimate outlets like talking about it?
Elliot Friedman, he reported it.
So then what the hell happened?
Don't know. And Delorier was in the lineup yesterday, okay? And the fact that he fought against Colorado, I don't know if you saw it. I put it on our Instagram story there. That he kicked the shit out of that kid too. That he fought yesterday. So that's something that I was definitely looking forward to seeing in the lineup, just to have that presence.
You're a
Right?
ruffian.
No, I'm not. Like actually, I don't. I don't. I don't. When I pick my teams, when I coach, I don't really look for those types of things, but I do address in terms of. I remember when I was coaching my minor midget team back in the day, and I had one player that I could slide up, from the fourth line to the third line, and he used to drop his mitts all the time for me. But he was a player that you could put on the power play as well. He had some soft mitts in front of the net. But I'm just looking at a Penguins team, going against those three top teams in the East there, and having somebody to police them. I just don't see it. You look at that Buffalo series a couple weeks ago when Ruotsalainen took that headshot at Sid, and then nobody even went after the guy. Nobody, not even like again, even if you're Getzel, Rust, whatever, you can't fight the guy, but you're gonna go, stick him, maybe slash him, cross check him, go after him. But they didn't even do that. If you're looking at, you don't want to have that goon guy, but if you're not going to have the goon guy, then you have to have that team toughness, and you have to stick up for each other, right? Nobody even went after Ruotsalainen. So again, what happens when you get into a 7-game series, Jordan? We've seen this before, and you're going to get bullied all over the ice, right? What happens then? And then if you look at some of the teams out there, Vegas has, Ryan Reeves. Colorado's that other team that really doesn't have anybody that sticks out to me that can, police. Who else are the top? The Islanders, we talked about Matt Martin. Of course, we talk about the Capitals with Tom Wilson. Carolina, they don't have really that player either in their lineup. The Leafs, they have Wayne Simmons. They have some toughness to their group. But to me, again, I'm really surprised with if Berkey does not bring that type of that grit. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Like the Carter move shocked me last night, but not having that grit, it's interesting, man. It's yeah. But again, if you hear all the guys talking in Pittsburgh and on the radio stations, Sully's a stubborn guy. He doesn't like that type of style. He doesn't like that type of player. So will he even play a guy like Nicolas Delorier, right?
Yeah.
He didn't play Ryan Reeves. We saw how fast he came in and went, right?
Yeah.
So
Ways.
Yeah. Just imagine though, if you look at
where Hextall and Burke say you don't have a choice. Like,
yeah, but that's okay. I agree with you, but let's go back.
You're not their guy, bud.
Right, but what I think is if they don't get that guy, they're gonna say, okay, Sully, this is the roster you like, right? This is the type of play you want to play, and then if you get knocked out first round, you might be knocked out as a coach. See you later, right?
Yeah.
So it could be a twofold there. It could be, okay, Berkey and Hextall, okay, Sully, you want to play this style? You think this style can win right now? We got you, Carter, just to fill a role here, right? And then you go with it. So we'll see.
How many days does Carter have to wait before he can play? Can he jump right in the lineup?
I think because he's coming from LA, he doesn't have to quarantine. I'm not sure. I don't think there's quarantining for that.
Felina will have to quarantine, right? Going to Toronto.
Yeah, I think it's 7 days now for U.S. players coming to Canada. So 7 days. The Leafs don't even need him for now. They just got him for that playoff run, right? So
yeah,
um,
how's Galchenyuk looked with them?
he's playing on their second line. He was playing on their first line on Saturday night. Yep. So, interesting there. You're still seeing this. We're still seeing this. Brandon Sutter thing out there.
You love it.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's a different. It's a different time if you're a Penguins fan because but Jr. at the wheel, you'd be like just waiting for things to go down here, right? And this is going to be something that Penguins fans are going to have to get used to. Is Hextall, I think, is a very patient GM, and he's going to be looking at that soft rebuild, and you're not going to. It's not going to be even during the season, it's not going to be as crazy as it was with Jr. Things are going to be at a slower pace. I think he's a big evaluator of talent. They're seeing what they have now, and they're just going to build from it. So, we'll
Guys,
see.
Breaking news, bro.
What do you got?
Sergei Zubov is the new head coach of Dynamo Riga in the KHL.
Zubov, number 56, right?
I remember rocking him in NHL.
Yeah, man, he was a sick.
Fast. It was fast.
Good hands. He ran that power play for Pittsburgh. Those days there when we had, I think even Luke Robitaille was on the Pens at that time, right?
Yeah.
So, but I just, what, it's unbelievable how, we're talking about a half an hour now, and I don't know, there's been like maybe how many trades today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 trades today. 6. Just absolutely just
averaging 1 an hour right now.
It's crazy. It's but
is Marian Hossa available?
Yeah, you know what?
Remember that day?
You know what? That was one of the better trade line days as a Penguins fan for sure, right?
Colby Butts to Cheese Armstrong.
Yeah. The other kid, I think it was D'Angelo or
what was his name again? What's his name?
Let's look at it. He was a prospect. I think it was D'Angelo. I think it was. Let's check it out.
I thought it was Angelo.
Was it Angelo? It might have been.
Yeah. Let's look right now.
Yeah, it was Esposito. Yes, exactly.
Eric Christensen and some unknown talent in Angelo Esposito. Meanwhile, the Penguins received Marian Hossa and Pascal Dupuis.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And we also got Hal Gill.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know what? You look at the tenureship of Pascal Dupuis in a Penguins uniform, man. We got that deal was fantastic. Yeah, we lost Hossa, but Dupuis became a figure on that line with Sid. And
and Sid were magic together too.
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah.
Did Angelo Esposito even ever turn out to be anything?
No. And he was highly touted in the Q. He was a first round draft pick, I believe. So
Jeff Carter's our Marian Hossa this year.
I don't think that. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, in terms of big name traded to us.
Yeah, listen. The positive thing about this all today is the big thing for me is the Capitals are still not doing anything, right? I
haven't even heard rumblings of them doing anything.
Oh, it's pretty quiet out there, right? So
let's see what's going on in Hockey Buzz land. Hoffman likely to still move. Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Montreal.
Yeah,
buddy. By by Eklund's account, we're going to end up with Brandon Sutter, Hoffman, and Brian Murray over
Brian
here, huh?
Murray? Well, that's a lot of wheeling and dealing within the next half hour. So, Penn's
And he
Penn's
says
pro shop
Sam Bennett talks continue.
with who? With Pittsburgh or
No, he
just
just said
overall?
in general.
In general, yeah.
What about
I
the pro
listen.
shop? What about
Sam
the pro
Ben. I was just gonna say the pro shop, is getting
dusting
jerseys
off
ready.
those Sutter jerseys?
Yeah, it's dusting them off, right? And getting maybe that those patches ready to be screened on, right? So, the numbers and whatnot, right? Jordan's favorite thing to do when we go down to Pittsburgh is get that Stanley Cup logo.
Oh, yeah.
The patch screened onto his jerseys, right?
Damn right. And I'll get it done to my Gensel if we go back.
Yeah. So did you know that?
I want to get that yellow jersey though.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Did you know that Jakey Boy got a hat trick last night? Not sure if the Penguin fans know this, but he did get credited for the goal they gave to Rust.
So, yeah, free milkshakes, brother.
Yeah, he had the HT. So
free milkshakes.
He got the HT even when he wasn't playing. So
attaboy.
Mm-hmm.
Jake and bake, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty wild and crazy trade deadline today.
Yeah, I know. Breaking news: Nick's been traded to another YouTube channel.
Perfect, love it.
Did Lucas get traded today? Give us something to talk about.
Yeah. Everything's been shut down. That's the sad thing here. So
when's he gonna play next? Not till next year, at least, eh?
Probably till September.
How's that working how's that working for draft year and stuff?
Well, it sucks for the 05s right now because the 05s don't, they're trying to squeeze in some games to get looked at for the junior draft or whatnot.
Are they going ahead with the draft anyways?
Still in limbo right now. Even the OHL season's still in limbo. They were supposed to create some sort of a bubble in May just to play like a 25 game season and then some playoffs. But who knows now with COVID and the numbers that are out there right now, it's pretty crazy. So
it's brutal up here.
Yeah.
I saw an article 2 days ago. Canada went from leading the world in healthcare to being the biggest country lagging behind in this pandemic right now. So,
So we have Pittsburgh hockey now going. I guess he's going live here, a live blog. So we'll see what he comes up with here in the next 30 minutes. So again, we talked about.
We should have had Eklund on the show.
Yeah. Again, there was a reach out to Brian Murray of the Anaheim Ducks this morning, again, about Ryan Getzlaf. But don't know if the deal went dead here. If he sort of blocked the trade or is not interested in it. So we'll see with that. Supposedly, Brian Burke, I missed some of it, tells Sportsnet that Ron Hextall put the wheels in motion for Jeff Carter trade a month ago.
Oh, wow. It took him that long, huh?
Yeah. So, and this was the best quote that Berkey said is that, and I heard when he said this, is we're the Pittsburgh Penguins and we're not here to kiss anyone's butt to play here. So I guess they asked if Sidney Crosby or who else had, communication with Jeff Carter to convince him to come to Pittsburgh, and Berkey went off with his Berkey, comment. Yeah, you know what? Like again, the biggest name to be traded today is Matthias Janmark. That's Um, and the funny thing about this all is that if you look at Taylor Hall being traded with his talent and his pedigree, they haven't even made that a big deal on any of the channels today. Um, I guess the fact that he's just had such a horrible year, and it always comes back to this. Like we talked about it many a times. Why the hell would he pick Buffalo? Yeah, right, with signing a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting, right?
Bro, it's so slow today that the Predators and the Blues are making deals on Twitter.
Are they?
Yeah, the Predators said the social media manager will trade a broken stick for a venti iced coffee, light ice, 1 pump of sugar-free vanilla, and a splash of half and half. And the Blues account replied and said, counteroffer, we'll trade you a puck for a bagel and future coffee considerations. Pretty bad when teams are trying to strike little deals on Twitter because there's not much to post about.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see that again what happens with the trade deadline too. We'll see a number of trades trickle through after the 3 p.m. hour. 3 to 4. Once that email and those paperwork and the phone calls go to the NHL office, there probably won't be big ones. Maybe. We'll see though.
You'll hear names though if big ones are about to happen.
Yeah, but again, what we're looking at right now are all depth players.
Yeah.
Again, it's just interesting here. It's almost like crickets, right?
It's brutal.
It's too bad that again, like some of these trades that happened over the weekend,
Didn't happen
didn't
today.
happen today. Yeah, because give way more conversations you can have in terms of depth and whatnot. But let's go over the Penguins roster here. Talk about that. So with that, Evan Rodriguez, he's been playing really good. A stretch here since Kapanen's been out and he's been up and down the lineup. With a healthy lineup, do you keep him in there, Jordan? If
Who,
let's say,
Rodriguez?
yeah, if you get you get Kapanen back, you get Tanev back, you get Gino back. He was my odd man out, right?
Yeah, was the odd man out.
Right. Do you keep that Bluger, Tanev, Czar line together, or do you break that up?
That's your favorite line in the world. You have to keep it together.
I'm you know what I'm honest with you here is that I think that I would even take a look at maybe taking Czar out and putting Rodriguez in the lineup instead of Czar.
Oh wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Just not a fan of the Czarmeister, huh?
Well, again, you got to be able to go 0 to 60 pretty fast, and 0 to 10 ain't gonna hack it in the playoffs. So I'm not again. I think the player is way overrated. I don't think he does enough for the ice time he gets, and I think Rodriguez has deserved a nice shot in staying in the lineup. He brings an element to the game. He's got really good hockey IQ. He's got some hands. He can make some passes. He's definitely faster than Czar, right? The funny thing about yesterday is they put yesterday's game was they put Ricola and Sevier on waivers.
Ricola.
Nobody picks them up, and then Sevier snipes 2 back to back last night, which was pretty crazy. All right, so still nothing happening here. Just interesting. You seeing anything on the wire there?
No.
No.
I'm looking.
Friedman's been quiet too today. Normally he's got like a lot of stuff happening out there. Bobby Mack, same thing, right?
Because I don't think there's much going on, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
$20 to the deadline and
Mhm.
nothing even trickling through right now. That's worrisome.
No,
I'm surprised the Capitals stayed so pat.
yeah, that's I thought for sure they'd go after a backup goalie. You see what with their goaltending or whatnot. Interesting to see that they're staying pat with that. Um, Maybe the prices are too high, right? These first round draft picks, second round draft picks, teams want to hold on to them. Maybe they're comfortable with their squad that they have right now.
And how long is Ekblad out for in Florida?
I think he's out for probably the season, isn't he? He's got that knee injury, so. But they're a team that made a couple moves over the weekend. Florida picked up. Let's see, they picked up Brandon Monitor of the Sabres, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, which was on Saturday, which was a decent trade for a third round draft pick. Again, puck moving defenseman. He's got some quick feet, decent shot on the power play. So that's a pretty big for the Panthers. I like that player. They made the Vinny and the Stroza trade for Brad Morrison on April 2nd as well. But the Monitor, probably they made that trade because Ekblad's not coming back right now, right? So like you said, we still have there's a couple of things. Oh, Bennett to the Panthers, done. There we go.
Oh,
We just talked about we just talked about the Panthers, and there you go. Sam Bennett to the Panthers.
wow. What'd they give up? Do you know yet?
Not yet. No, no. So big move there by the Panthers again, getting deep. Wonder what they gave up. That'll be interesting to see what they gave up for him. It's either going to be a first round draft pick or something
Steep.
like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So that's a pretty big name going out there today. $4.5 million player. Is their contract going back?
What's our cap space right now?
Sorry,
What's our cap space right now?
I don't think there's. I think it's a million something right now because again with putting Ricola and Sevier on
Yeah,
waivers.
1.1.
Yeah, it was like 2.3 with putting those two on waivers, and then you have coming back. You have Carter and coming back there. So with LA retaining some of the salary, right?
So we don't even have a lot of wiggle room to make a play unless we start trading
No.
roster players.
Right, exactly. Well, that's why I said to you, before is that the only way you're going to be able to get any type of players today, it's got to be a hockey trade. It's got to be a player for player, right? That that or a guy like Nicholas Laurier comes in for $1 million, and you have another trade here, Eric Gustafson of Ottawa going to Montreal. Okay, so again, Montreal is adding some toughness on that back end. They acquired John Merrill, which is not really a tough, but he's a puck moving defenseman, and you had Eric Gustafson. You know, we had a sniff of him back in the day, right? And again, he was one of those bigger defensemen, tough guys that I don't think Sully was a fan of. So a couple of trades coming through here now. it seems that there's a rumor out there too, Jordan, that the Penguins are looking at maybe a package deal for Josh Manson and Raquel. So not
Yeah, but
sure.
I read they wanted high draft picks for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So got 15 minutes until it's it's done, until of that bell ringing and seeing what happens here. But looks like some trades are trickling through right now. Just looking at the phone here to see if we can get any more insight on anything that's happening with the Penguins. So we have here that so Bennett went to Florida for
Second round and a
second
prop.
and 20. Yeah, for second rounder in 2022. Hyman take the second round last year, equivalent of 2 seconds. So again, not sure what happened here with the Penguins, but you know, that's a player that definitely I would have loved to see in Pittsburgh grab. You know, it didn't seem like it took much, right? But Hextall sticking to his guns and keeping on to those draft picks, right? So
Yeah. And apparently there's a high chance that Minnesota St. Louis is postponed tonight.
COVID.
No, aftermath of that police shooting.
Oh,
Minnesota police officer mistaken her taser for her gun. And Gustafson is one for a 7th round pick. And the Flyers are retaining 50% of the salary.
oh yeah. Oh, so that's Gustafson. I thought
From the
I thought it was.
Flyers.
Yeah. Sorry, my mistake. I thought I was thinking of the defenseman from Ottawa. My mistake there on that one.
Did you mention who the prospect in that Bennett trade was?
I think I did. It's Hyman.
Emil Hyman, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a 2nd round pick, so technically
Yeah.
it's 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
again,
we weren't going to give up something like that.
No. But again, I was thinking more of a hockey deal trade with that, right? Like giving up a Pedersen for him. But we all know that Hextall loves the young players, right? So just looking at what Pittsburgh hockey now is. So he says no Penguins trade here. Sam Bennett, we talked about that.
Do you think the Blue Jackets would trade Patrick Laine?
Well, that was reported this morning, right? But I don't see that. What I see is with the Columbus Blue Jackets, I see Tortorella, being now with the team next year, bringing in somebody else. They traded Dubois to Winnipeg. Why would they trade the guy that they wanted right away? Unless you're getting something really good in return, right? If you're getting first rounders or whatnot, but I can't see that happening. It wouldn't make any sense to me, right? I think Torts is on his way out. But again, you look at this trade that they gave up, like you said, basically two second rounders for Bennett, but he will be a player that will definitely help the Panthers and get that lineup deeper and tougher. This is again, and he's young too. He's only 24 years old, right, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing in a guy that's got some years in him, and Carter, and yeah, we got experience, but really, do you need a guy with experience with this core, right? Pittsburgh, you have a core that's won 3 cups, more cups than Carter, right?
Yeah.
So, again, I don't. Do I like the Carter deal? Yeah, it helps out, but it's just not what I thought that they would be doing at this time.
Can we now officially say Delorier is probably dead?
I wouldn't say that until 4 o'clock. I really wouldn't. I think Anaheim's still looking to get rid of some players here. They're definitely in that rebuild.
Are you surprised that it got Sam Bennett technically got more than what Hall did?
Does he again? Let's look at it. I would say does Hall, Bennett. How long is his contract? Have you checked that? Is he signed for?
Let me check.
Yeah.
Low cap it. It's done after this year.
So he's a UFA.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's only making $2.5 million this year too.
Interesting. Well, we got 7 minutes until the bell rings here, and
Are you gonna have the kids blow the horn?
I don't know where they are right now, but
what do you mean you don't know where your kids are right now? What kind of parent are you?
Yeah, I don't know where they are. They're probably upstairs running around doing whatever, but I'm sure they're going to be disappointed as I am that the Penguins didn't make any more moves today. It looks like it is what it is, and we'll see how far this team goes. So
I'm just looking up Angelo Esposito because that Thrashers trade had me thinking. He never even played.
He didn't play at all for Atlanta?
Buddy.
A couple games?
Nah, man. I guess because he's torn his ACL twice, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's a real estate investor and a landlord.
That's how fast things can change on you, though, right?
He never played a single minute in the NHL. And yet, if you go back to the queue, I remember hearing all the Guy Lafleur comparisons he had.
Oh, even when he played in the World Juniors as well, right?
Yeah, because he had that 1 year in 2005 where he had 98 points in 57 games. But buddy, his highest point total in the A was 16 points in 38 games.
Mhm.
Brutal.
Crazy.
Because I remember some people didn't want us to trade him.
Yeah, but then look what you got in return, right? So, that's just totally insane, right? So, but it looks like that's it for the Penguins today, Jordan. 5 minutes left, unless we see something else, right? So,
Yeah.
I think the winner to me, you know, like I said, Tampa Bay got Savard. The Leafs made some significant deals this weekend. The Panthers adding Brandon Monitor and now Sam Bennett. You look at Boston with Hull, Lazar, and Riley. The Islanders with Coburn, Palmieri, and Zajac. And then you look at
Everyone upgraded though, except us in the Capitals.
you look at the Golden Knights, Matthias Janmark, upgraded as well. So, like I said, I think if you're a Penguins fan, this is just a wait and see type thing. See what the team can do. One of the things that I think that has maybe changed Burke's and Hextall's mind going into this is the team had a great March. They're winning now, but again, look who they're beating. But we'll see. We'll see. Does Kapanen and Malkin and Tanev come back for playoff time? I think two out of the three will probably. But it'll be interesting to see. It's 4 minutes to go here.
What are the top names even still available right now?
Well, there's still out of that top 20 on that trade bait, there's still at least 10 out there that definitely can help some teams. You have the Mansons, you have the Raquels, you have Jonathan Bernier that's out there, Antti Ranta that was out there supposedly that maybe Washington was going to take a stab at. Number of different players that way. Again, I talked about it last time. Last year there was 19 trades between after 2 o'clock, and this year it's just quiet. I really think COVID has a lot to do with it. It's a short season. Cap, quarantine, all that stuff. Again, you're gonna need some luck to win a cup, and you're gonna need some healthy bodies, and there's some teams like you said have added and have gotten better as of today, and as of last night. So, sink or swim. This is JR's roster except for Carter. Basically, that's what they're saying, Jordan, and that's what it's going to be looking like, right? So, I guess that's what we got. 77, and like I said last night, there hasn't been a 77 in the lineup for the Penguins since Mr. Paul Coffey back in the 90s. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, even people are commenting on Eklund saying you've been quiet today.
Yeah. Well, they're like again, Twitter hasn't been going crazy. Bobby Mack, nothing. Friedman, nothing. John Storm, nothing. A lot of guys, Pierre, LeBron, like there's been no chatter out there. It's been very quiet. Normally, you even hear chatter and things don't go down, right? But there's nothing. There's really nothing there. So, yeah, we got 2 minutes left, and then we'll call it a day on trade deadline of 2021.
It's been I'm just shocked at how slow it's been.
Yeah, again, it's like we said, I think the Hall, everybody was waiting to see where Hall went. That got done last night. The Leafs did their business over the weekend. The New York Islanders did their business last week with Palmieri and Zajac. Some teams took care of business. Some teams are not willing to give up the future to for this playoff run, right? So we'll see. Well, you got you got you got the teams that are taking some chances, teams that are looking at maybe this could be the year with a short season,
Yeah.
and you just take it as it comes and see how your the playoff run goes, and then reevaluate your team in the off season. And I think that's what Pittsburgh is going to do. I think this has been just an evaluation of Berkey and Exel looking at the Penguins roster, taking it from there, and then moving on and see what happens in the summer. So
Nikita Zadorov stays put in Chicago. Blackhawks were listening, but nothing really enticed them. Okay. The Sharks, the Blackhawks, and Vegas, it's now like a 3-team trade, eh?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So who what did the Sharks get out of that? Or
the Sharks get the 2022 5th-round draft pick from Buffalo. I guess from Buffalo's was involved. The Blackhawks get a 2021 2nd-round draft pick and a 2022 3rd-round draft pick. I guess Vegas had Buffalo's 5th-round pick. And then Vegas got Matthias Janmark, and they got Nick DeSimone. So they got a forward and a defenseman in the same trade.
Yeah. Well, the horn just went off at the TSN Hockey Trade Line show, and that is it for now. I'm sure that some trades will come trickling in, but I don't see anything. I think the Penguins are done, and that is it.
Yeah. Final thoughts before we get out of here, Nick?
No, just we're looking at the Penguins roster for now. Interesting.
What?
Elliot Friedman just tweeted out Ben Hutton to Toronto.
There it is. Yeah,
Wow.
I just saw it.
Wow. So Mr. Dubas is making some waves here this weekend with really stocking up.
They really think they can make that push, eh?
Yeah. That's interesting. So Ben Hutton to the Leafs. Freeman just put that down. So it is what it is for the Penguins this year. They're playing decent hockey. We'll see what happens when they play against the Bruins, the Islanders, and the Caps in the playoffs, and we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Man, slow day, eh?
Slow day, right? For sure.
I'm just looking right now, seeing if there's anything final. LeBron just confirmed the Blues are done.
So Hoffman's going nowhere.
No.
Interesting, because you know what? He was a healthy scratch. All right, look at it. So trades today, 9, 17 players, 10 picks. Wow.
Crazy.
That is bad, man. That is a bad day. That is a bad day for action today, right? So
all right, brother.
That is it.
That is it. Looks like a few minor deals might trickle in, but not much.
Yeah. So Anaheim went. They traded Ben Hutton their D to the Maple Leafs. So D, stocking up their back end a little bit, and like you said, the Leafs are pushing for a run. So we'll see.
We'll see if it's all for naught.
You got it.
And Ben Hutton was for a mid-round pick. So, all right, puckheads, we'll be back later this week. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your trade deadline, as some of the moves we may trickle in. Seems like it might be all Leaf moves that trickle in here. Jeez. And it's a 5th-round pick for Ben Hutton officially. All right. So we will talk to you guys soon. Hope you all stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed.